Hey, what's up folks? Jesse here with Southern Reels, and it is officially the middle of winter here in North Carolina, and today it's about 20 degrees outside, so it is cold. It's actually so cold I took the day off of work. So since I had the day off, I figured I would take the opportunity to come out here in this shop and shoot some setup videos on my 2019 Outback that I got here. I have a whole new Sonar setup. I don't go over that in this video. Yeah, here we go. Let's do it. All right, everybody, so here it is. This is the model that I decided to go with. I went with Garmin this time. It's my first time ever using a Garmin product. This is the Garmin Echomap 74 SV Plus chart plotter. It's a very nice unit. It's full touchscreen. It's got basically all the navigation and the mapping and every tool you could ever possibly need for a boat, let alone a kayak. I have it mounted on just a ram ball set up right in the track system here that's integrated on the 2019 Outback. Very nice because I can just loosen this, adjust it all around, pretty much angle it anywhere I want it. Look on the back of it, but I have the power cable for the unit and a network cable coming in that basically gives it all of the sonar capabilities that it has. This unit is also very nice because it's got a quick detach feature, but you can just depress this tab right here and the whole unit pops right off like that, and the only thing that's left is the actual cage. That's pretty much the setup with the actual, chart plotter itself. Now let's get to the other goodies. All right, y'all, this is the next thing I want to cover right here. This is the actual transducer for the Livescope setup. Pretty much has to be mounted independently from the one that goes underneath the Kayak that gives you the traditional down scan and side scan. So I had to come up with a solution for that. So what I basically did is rigged up this pole. I have another ram ball right here and just a traditional longer ram coupler. And I have that mounted to a piece of PVC pipe, and I can basically loosen it, rotate this right down like so, and position it right beside me. So I can just reach right from the seat there and kind of move it around if I need to deploy it quickly or pull it up. All I gotta do is reach over, turn the knob, and just lift it right up, lock it back down, and I'm good to go. Now, if you saw my first video that I did about this, if you haven't, I'll put a link right up above right now. But I had this on a fixed mount before, so when I rotated it down, it pretty much just stayed pointing straight ahead of the kayak. I was able to paddle around doing some crappie fishing and turn the kayak back and forth and kind of hone in on them and actually sight cast them, which is really cool. But I made the comment in the video that I need to make it to where I could rotate it. And the other night I actually got out here and took some time and did that. And this is kind of what I come up with. I'll try to give you guys some close-ups of this if I can. You can kind of see here a couple close-ups of how I just got that mounted. What I rigged up here, going through that all the way down, just a piece of pipe. Now I've got another piece of this same pipe here that I basically cut in half to thicken this up. I basically took a notch out of a small piece of this pipe, because you can see there's a little joint right there where it rotates. Say the clamp here wouldn't clamp down small enough to clamp it down around this smaller irrigation pipe. So I took another length of this pipe here and cut it, took a groove out of it all the way up one side, if you can see that right there. So when I would clamp this down, it would actually clamp down tight around the inner pipe, which is the one that actually rotates. And at the same time, it pretty much acts as a stop, which keeps that inner pipe from sliding back up that way. The fitting here, which is made for these irrigation pipes, basically just slid in. That acts as the upper stop. And then the piece of extra pipe that I cut, which is underneath here, acts as the lower stop to keep that middle piece of pipe in place and rotating properly. Once again, that's a 1-inch PVC pipe and some black irrigation pipe that just fits inside of it nice and snug. And also I took this H-rail mount right here and hollowed it out to where it would fit around this pipe nice and snug. It pretty much ruined the mount for ever being used for an H-rail again, but I got like 4 or 5 of them, so it ain't a big deal. Kind of making use of what I had in the shop. But this is pretty much what I come up with just to give me the ability to rotate it by hand. I think it's going to be nice just to be able to reach right over and do that. And I'm sure I'll probably tweak the design a little bit. Right now it works. It's easy to deploy, easy to retrieve back up, store it down. I can just throw a strap over it when I'm transporting it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm happy with it. I think it'll work just fine. So All right, folks, the next thing was the actual black boxes for the setup. Now, I have two on this, basically. I didn't use the transducer. I did initially. I used the transducer that came with the unit, which shot 455 and 800 megahertz, I believe. It did a pretty decent image. I decided to go ahead and upgrade to the Ultra HD option that gives you the same scanning abilities as the Humminbird Mega Imaging. It's really nice, and it comes with a little network box that I have mounted up underneath the bottom of the hole here. And also the Panoptix Livescope itself comes with a black box, and I have that mounted up farther in the hole right here, basically. Right in this area right here of the hole is the network box for the Ultra HD, and farther up in this area here is the much larger black box that runs the Livescope setup. Now I have these bolted up to the underside of the hole, so they're basically upside down, bolted up to the bottom of this here to try to keep them as dry as possible. Pretty much just use rubber washers and sealant, and they both basically fit in there perfect. So that's pretty much how I have the setup mounted, you know, of course with all the cabling and stuff running in the hole, tucked away nice and neat. That way it doesn't interfere with any of the cables for the rudder system or anything like that. I talked with Garmin extensively about this for doing this system with their tech support. They assured me that these things are like IPX7, I believe it is, water rated. So if they get wet, it's not too big of a deal. He did recommend that I use dielectric grease on all of the connectors, which I definitely recommend that on anything, especially salt water. Now the next thing I want to discuss is the power solution. I actually have this little hatch here, a circle hatch that I installed in the back of the Kayak. If you haven't seen, I do have a video on doing this, which I'll link above right now. And inside of here is where I put my power solution for the Sonar system. Basically, I took one of these little tackle trays that come with the Kayak stock and cut all the dividers out of it, and inside of that I'm able to fit 3 of these Naqua 10 amp hour lithium battery packs. I love these guys. Honestly, I think it's the best battery solution I've found for kayaks. Unfortunately, this setup here, because it's running the chart plotter and also 2 black boxes, and it's also providing megahertz imaging, not to mention the power draw of the Livescope, one of these definitely wouldn't cut it very long. So I have 4 of them. Now if you look, I only have 3 of them in the actual tub here, because that's all I could fit in there. The 4th one I just have in its regular case, and pretty much at this point all I do is just kind of slip it up into the back here of the Kayak and then just set this other one down in place. I haven't had any problems with that yet. This gives me 40 amp hours of battery life in this Kayak, and if you do the math on the unit, I'm pulling about 4 amps to 4.5 amps of power. So this should provide me with you know, probably 9 to 10 hours of battery life on the water, which is most cases enough to get through a day of fishing. So, oh yeah, another thing about these batteries that's awesome, they only weigh like 1.5 pounds, which is crazy. I mean, this battery is so light. So literally I got a 40 amp hour battery solution right here that weighs about the same as a 10 amp hour lead battery that you would get from Bass Pro that a lot of people use in their kayaks. So that's what I got going on for power. So one other thing I want to show you there real quick. I got this little switch that I wired in the hole right here, and what this does is cut the power from the battery to the black box for the Livescope setup. Now it doesn't hurt the chart plotter or interfere the battery to the chart plotter in any way. So basically what I'm doing is anytime that I'm not actually using the Livescope, it is killing the battery power to the black box for the Livescope, which saves about half of the power draw of the system that I have here. I think that's a nice little setup, and anybody that's using it, especially in a Kayak, you should do that. Especially if you're running on a limited battery supply, it will stretch it out as long as possible. And one other thing just to show you, that is the Ultra HD transducer, which is actually much smaller than the one that comes with the unit, mounted up on the Hobie retractable plate right there. And I do have to admit, I love their retractable plate system. It makes me feel much better about running side scan and down scan transducers, you know, on these kayaks. So all right, folks, there you go. That's my setup on my 2019 Outback, and you know what? I cannot wait to get this thing back out on the water. I'll try to put links in the description to everything that I use to put this system together. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please hit me up. And once again, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It helps. Anyway, thanks. Peace out. See you.